Good morning, everyone. SwiftCow. We're playing some more Phantasy Star 4, and we have... Oh, I don't even get to control this. Awesome. Ah, you made it, Chaz. Raja, are you okay? And Kyra, you're here too? Minor sickness like that can keep me in bed. Take me with you. There's reassurance in numbers. Since I'm so reliable, I'll accompany you. Raja and Kyra, thank you. So it looks like we're getting right into it. Han, Chris, and Demi too. Hey, Chaz. You seem to have become stronger since we last met. I was scolded by Pana, but I came anyway. The system is finally stabilized. Now I can go with you. Everybody, thank you so much. Demi, what is this disaster you reported? A large hole suddenly opened north of Piata. The life forms around that hole are dying, one after the other. There's no gas or radiation emissions. There's no need to verify it. We knew as soon as we arrived in Motavia. It's all due to the black energy wave, and a pretty strong one at that. The profound darkness. He's finally opened the door from the other dimension. Let's go. This is the last battle. Really, you guys need taken care of. I'll be your big sister and look after you. Well, seeing as we're all here, I'd like all of you to go, but there are only 5 rings of the stars to protect us from the power of darkness. So that means we have to choose one person to take. Okay. So I talked a little bit about this last time. We get to pick one of these 5 characters. So Grizz is just a physical attacker. He's got a bunch of hit points, but he's really mediocre overall. He doesn't get any combos, he doesn't get any special techniques that really contribute, he doesn't get any buffs that contribute. The other characters all bring something. Demi has her medkit healing that gives a buff or heals the entire team, but it only heals living life forms, and we've got, at that point you'd have 2 androids on the team, which means that using SAR healing spells also doesn't actually help as much as it would otherwise. Han actually has a ton of really neat spells, but I don't think they're actually as useful as I'd like. He has a lot of good, like, instant death effects and stuff, and I feel like his stuff is better against, I feel like his stuff is better against random encounters, and we're mostly looking at boss fights at this point, so I don't think it's going to actually be as relevant. And plus, he's kind of mediocre in other regards, like with, his equipment. Kyra gets Mad Ice, which is pretty solid, but all of her good healing is single target. And while she does get a couple combos with Rune, a lot of them are just good multi-target, again, against against random encounters, and I feel like we want to plan for the boss. So we're going with a tour of Motavia has long been my dream. I want to go and see all the famous places. I better go hurry and clean everything up. If you take me, you won't have a moment of boredom. Ha ha ha. You're a pretty good judge of character. You'll go far. Okay, so yeah, we're bringing Raja because he has tons of MP, Nasar, the regen ability, which I believe is a revive that won't cost us any MP, as well as Rever the spell for resurrection, The other important thing he has is Ataraxia. Ataraxia means that we can restore TP. It is literally the only way in the game to restore TP, which means we can spend a lot of our resources, or we can spend more of our resources as we approach the final boss, which means he is, in that way, good against random encounters, as well as the boss. Even if he's not contributing damage, he lets everybody else contribute damage by letting them use their TP and still having resources left against the boss. He also gets Blessing, which is just another buff so that we don't have to have Saner and Saner and D-Ban on different turns with Rika. Wait, does he not get his ring yet? I guess he doesn't get to equip it until you get there or something. So I'm not sure if we get prompted for this and I just haven't seen it yet, or if I need to just explore, but there is one more side quest left, so I think we're gonna do that first. It shouldn't be a long one. Alcidion is shining. A voice is reverberating. Protectors of Algo, the Anger Tower welcomes you gladly. Awesome. So you do need the sword before you can go here. But it's gonna give us the last resources that we need to get through this. It unlocks the last special ability for Chaz. It's going to give us a few... actually, I think it might just be one piece of equipment, but even that is fine, because it's an important one. I do think I'm gonna need to go shopping quick as well, though. I just noticed, or because I noticed I don't have... What? Oops. Oh, I didn't get rid of all my old weapons and armor. Whoops. Yeah, let's toss the Lyco Claw. We have tons of claws. Get the other guard mail so that we've got both Rika and Chaz equipped with that. Now, when I was saying that that the other characters might be good, this is the point where... So, Han has a combo with Rune, where he can use... Basically, it lets Rune use DM on the entire enemy party. And that part would have actually been pretty nice. I'll be fair. That should be all the items. What? Alice? You're here on Rycros? Alice? Alice? Answer me, Alice! Yikes, Alice! Alice! Heh. Well, well, Protector. What a weakling you are. You wail and lament for something you know to be an illusion. An illusion? Is that right? Your anger, your hatred is quite a show of your force of character. Would you like to be able to wholly transform those feelings into strength? Huh? There's a technique to transform emotions of anger and hatred into powers of destruction. Do you want to know about it? Don't mess with me. Huh? Why is that? Even if I won using such power, it would be meaningless. It would only make us the same as the darkness. I see. You fought the illusion, and yet you haven't lost sight of yourself. Okay, I shall trust you with this technique. The forbidden technique, Megid. The forbidden technique. There's nothing to be afraid of. It's necessary to feel anger and hatred for humans, to be human. There shouldn't be any danger that you will be corrupted by the power. Just don't forget your true self. So he just learned the Megid spell, which is awesome. It's really powerful. And that's it for this section. Let's go ahead and Hinas out, sorry. And Ryuka to the Silence Temple. We're gonna head back to Dizolus quick. I think, if I'm remembering correctly, so when we first went to Rochelle, it was abandoned. If I'm remembering right, but let's see. Lyco Gear. Silver Crown. Oh. Yeah, I'm misremembering that part. My bad. Where are those... Where are the shields I want then? Because he should... Raja should be able to equip the same stuff as Rune. Which should be silver, and then there's also like the psychic ward one. Honestly, either one would be fine at this point. If I can get double silver shields. That's not how I was originally planning to set up, but you know what? We can do that. Nope. I guess let's go back to Tyler. Okay. That puts us at 154 defense on him, which is decent. Do I... Yeah. I think I'd rather have the guard robe on our healer. Same thing, or same reason I originally had it on Rika. I feel like that's gonna be safer. And that leaves us with one last thing we need to do. So, offhand, when we're doing our basic setup for any boss battle, we want Saner, Barrier, Blessing. And then these two can do something along with that, which I think we just go ahead and plan on crosscut FS right off the bat. Pretty much everything, actually I think literally everything from this point on in the game is weak to hold. So I feel like that gives us our first round for any boss battle that we're going to be dealing with. And part of the reason I want to do it that way is because there are 3 boss battles. 4? There might be 4. Either way. 3 or 4 boss battles, and they are all... we only get 2 castings of some of our other spells. So this feels like the safer way to do it. And then let's go ahead and plan on... There's not a lot that's strong against gravity. I think we're going to escalate all the way up to Nagra here. And we are still going to air slash. And Raja's just going to defend. This is going to be our standard. And then let's go ahead and plan for eliminate DM attack, attack. Actually, yeah, let's do Holy Word here, and then attack, attack. Holy Word is a instant death effect that only affects very specific enemies. If he's not going to be doing anything anyway, we've got 14 charges of it. We may as well just have him hopefully maybe clean up some of the nasty. And then let's just do a very straightforward, like, this is our regular combat round plan. Straight up, Nassar, right out the gate. He's got way more TP than Rika does, so we can be a lot more lenient with how much healing, or how much we're spending on healing. I just want to make sure that we don't get stuck in a situation where we can't use our Grand Cross combo. And I think, honestly, that's it. We've got tons of items to the point where we almost don't have enough room. I think I just teleported back to where I was. Head back to Montavia. So, I'm trying to remember where they said they said there was a giant hole, and I don't remember where they actually said it was. Was it Zemo? Or Zima? There it is. Okay. Oh my. I don't like this place. This is a relatively short dungeon, and honestly, this is one of the things I was a little bit disappointed with in this game, as odd as that may sound. the one of the things that I really love in RPGs in general is when you get to that endpoint in the game, you get to do, like, a lot of times you do get the, you know, whatever that particular spell or item is pretty late, you know, but most of the time you at least get up your final party together with some time to spare. You actually get a chance to use them and have them work together for a little bit. And we just went through the last couple sections with only 4 characters, and I kind of wish that it had given you more of an opportunity to go through stuff with this party. Or with the ability to switch party members out, even. It feels like it is kind of a missed opportunity. It's not like it's a huge deal because you still get to use it for the final boss, but I wish that there was, like, I'm thinking about, like, in Final Fantasy VI, whatever character you recruit last, you still get to use for the entirety of Kefka's tower, which is this huge, you know, staggering accomplishment. And you, like, there's a bunch of bosses, there's a bunch of opportunities to experiment with characters and get items and all this stuff. And I just kind of wish that that was available in this as well, of, like, you can do, you know, use all your characters. We had a little bit of that, but it was, but it was only with 4 characters instead of all 5. With the towers, and it's not, and they are not the last palace. Straight up, the last palace is, you know, right here, and we're almost to the end of it. Wait, where am I? I think this is right. Like, technically, this could be artificially longer if you don't know the route through it, which I suppose is fair, but it just means that you're dealing with more random encounters and losing your resources faster. Let's do command. I want to do Nassar. Ataraxia. Top run off before we get further. Like I said, I think we're pretty much at the end here, so equipping the Photon Eraser. Is that the shape of the profound darkness? What's happening? It's an emanation of the profound darkness. Anger, hatred, of all that lives, and a great need to destroy. We've got to defeat this thing. This must not be allowed to come to Algo. Portal's not open yet. Gotta take advantage of this opportunity, Chaz. Let's go, everyone. Now we determine Algo's future. Our future. Um... I actually think I just want to make some regular attacks this time. It didn't do any damage, so let's give it a turn. Recover. I mean, we may as well. I'm just gonna go ahead and dump a lot of these very powerful spells right away. Just so we don't have to... Like, it's all going into the same HP pool, effectively. The first phase of this boss has about 8,000 hit points, the second has 9,000, and the third has 13,000. So we're gonna be here a while doing just hitting this thing regardless. Non-watt Rayblade. Phase 2? That feels like it went faster than it should have based on the HP totals I've got. Maybe I'm just bad at math, though. So wait, does that mean we don't have to redo our... buffs? I'm just gonna do this just to be safe. Also, because Grand Cross. So now that, since this phase is using more of a AoE effect, we're gonna go ahead and start using this macro to Nasar. That's not gonna kill Ren? Okay, we'll take it. Gotta break from the macros for a second so that we can have Ren recover himself. We'll go ahead and Nawat, Rayblade, Saint Fire. I love that we went out of our way to get Megiddo, and it's not actually going to get used here. I mean, it might. I'm not going to say it's not gonna, but... I feel like I should just because I went out of my way to get it. Right? Double slash. Now what? I mean, technically we can keep using that. And I'm gonna go ahead and toss an Ataraxia out because Raja and Chaz are both down a little bit in MP. Never mind. It was just Raja. It's really just Raja. I must have copied the wrong columns for these HP totals or something, because this does not feel like we're getting hit as hard as I was expecting. This is going to be our last macro because we are out of FS after this. I think we just play it risky and go all out here. None of their HP totals are very low, so unless they have something that comes out of nowhere, we should be okay. Oh, we're out of Megiddo. So I think we're gonna actually have him use Na-Res on Rika this turn, and we'll toss another Ataraxia down. I think we've got enough people. We're really not that low right now, but I'll just go ahead and top everybody off. Better safe than sorry. Yeah, that does about as much as his physical attack. That was kind of what I thought. Out of double slash. Nassar? Never mind. Never mind. What's going on? The force holding this dimensional hole open. He's gone. I sense a time warp. It's getting bigger. Danger! Danger! What are we supposed to do? What the? The Alcidian. It's protecting us. It's beautiful. Thank you all. It's over, huh, Jazz? Yeah, it's over. We were able to keep Algo safe. Departure preparations are complete. I guess we'll head back to Dezolis. We'll get a ride with Ren. It was quite a fun journey, Jazz, the likes of which I haven't had in a long time. Suddenly, the text speed doesn't let you mash. You should come visit Dezolis once in a while. That's not possible. They don't have a spaceship. Flapping your arms won't get them too far. So I guess this is really goodbye, Chaz. What a pity you won't get to enjoy my wit anymore. I will go to Zelon and to assist my master Ren. Goodbye, Chaz. Eventually, the time will come where both my master and I will become unnecessary to Algo. But until that time, I will work to complete my duties. After I take everyone to Dezolis, I will return to Zelon. I guess you will need the support of the system a little longer. Oh, maybe not longer? It was just that. Ren, where's Rika? She has already gone to the Landale. Parting must be difficult for her. I see. Bye, Chaz. Stay well. I believe we will meet again. Rika, we are leaving. Yes. They're gone. Ren, Rika, the road you choose will probably be painful. And difficult. You are our hope. You must be strong and live with pride. Yes, Ren. Thank you. I've got to get back to Tonoe, Chaz. Thanks for everything. Feel that I've learned a lot from this trip. Thanks. And I'm returning to the academy. After all this, I've become disgusted with some of the people there, but I'll just have to transform those feelings into inner strength. The number of times there's been one word on the next page, oh my gosh. Just adjust the font or make the box bigger. I know it's been consistent this whole time, but this is the big cinematic ending. Chaz, I guess it's goodbye. Rune. Even though the battle against the ultimate fiend is over, my mission as Let's must continue. You see, I must watch over all Algo. And I'm still lacking in training and experience. I must continue to improve myself and eventually pass my knowledge on to the next generation of Lutz. Ha! It's even worse because it's predictable. Won't we meet again? Probably not. You silly, don't cry. You can live without anyone else's help. Rika! Chaz! Rika! So long, Chaz. Take care. Rune, thank you, and goodbye. I've never quite... I kind of get where they're at with that. I'm curious if it's just that the writing doesn't... Oh, long battle is over. We were able to free ourselves from the terrible curse of yore. To the souls of those who sacrificed their lives for Algo. Sleep in peace. From person to person, from age to age. As long as memories last. We will not forget the sacrifices that have been made. Eon's old struggle between light and dark has ended, and now the curtain rises on a new age. And we get right into that, what has been very familiar beat. Okay, so this game is awesome. I really needed to play something that was just awesome. And I'm really glad that I went after this. I love the storytelling with the way that they use the comic panels. Some of the dialogue is not the best, and some of the characterization isn't as deep as it could be, but it's still really good for the time period. And the main characters that it does take the time to characterize are awesome. The way that Chaz grows and changes throughout this is actually very notable. And while the implied romance at the end is a little bit comes out of nowhere, like that feels like it could have been developed more. I think that's actually the biggest problem with it, is we don't get a lot of opportunities to see the characters in repose. They're running from point to point, and there's not a lot of chance for us to just get dialogue between the characters to get to know them outside of the conflict. We get a little bit more at the beginning. There's like the celebration, and there's the they're a lot more relaxed when Alice is still leading the party. And speaking of just that twist of, like, especially for people who have played previous I just about said Star Ocean, that would have been impressive, Phantasy Star games, Alice is like the name of the heroine that's been like in previous games. So the expectation that Alice will be the heroine is kind of cool to supplant the way that they do. And her getting sick and then you thinking that you're in the process of saving her but not being able to do so is a really powerful story choice. And I don't feel like it's something that a lot of other games do well. Like when I was playing through through Final Fantasy IV recently, one of the things I complained about was specifically the fact that a lot of the sacrifices don't feel earned, don't feel worth it. And this feels like a genuine loss. Like she sacrificed herself to save Chaz, who saved the world. Yeah. Gameplay, I mean, the mechanics are awesome. The macro system and the combos are really cool. I do wish it explained them a little bit more. Like, I feel like if you didn't have a guide, there's a lot of things that you wouldn't find on your own, as far as how the techniques work, the elemental systems, especially the combos, the fact that you have to do them in order even, in some cases. It's one of those things that I feel like modern games do a better job of, where they're going to put that in a menu, they're going to give you explanations of how to make it work. But again, it's good for the time, and I do feel like this game gets overshadowed because of the fact that there are so many more good RPGs on the Super Nintendo than on the Sega. Sega just kind of has a couple, and Phantasy Star 4 is definitely the standout among those, which I'm sure I'll piss some Shining Force fan off, but Shining Force isn't as good as a lot of these other ones that we're comparing it to. And I feel like while Phantasy Star 4 doesn't meet some of the standards that some of the other games set. You know, nobody's gonna argue, or very few people are gonna argue that something like, you know, Chrono Trigger is still amazing, one of the best games ever. Final Fantasy VI is awesome, but I feel like I always put Lufia 2 up in that category as well. But I feel like Phantasy Star 4 should have a place in that pantheon for 16-bit RPGs. It's one of the best, and you know, it's not perfect, but none of them are, and that's okay. Thank you for coming with me on this journey. I am not sure what's coming next because I am currently pre-recording this way in the past. And I've run out of my list that I was planning to do this year. You will probably know what's coming next because I announce it at the beginning of every month. But I do not currently. There's so many games that I'm still wanting to play, and I actually have a really good plan for the rest of the year. I'm just not quite there yet. So, hopefully you are still enjoying. If you are, please give me a like and subscribe. Check out the other content on my channel. If you have any questions or suggestions, please leave them in the comments. And as always, have a good one. We'll catch you next time.